So, hello everyone. My name is Ayeshah Émon, and
And I am Chandrika Narayanan-Mohan.
we are bringing you our collaboration.
It was interesting trying to create this in a time where it was actually really hard to write. So the
Yeah.
two of us, like we had conversations and they were really brilliant conversations. And I think we were trying to like shoehorn poetry into our big conversations about life, but about trauma and about mothers and parenthood.
Yeah,
So we were trying to write poems about that, but I actually just think we were trying too hard, I think, to be
we were
poets
trying too
and like
hard.
to generate poetry, right?
Yeah, and for me as well, whenever I sit down and I think, right, I have to write this poem, it never works. It has to come from inspiration, and inspiration is something I cannot control. I have been traveling a lot, and I was trying to write about trauma and about the experience of um, being displaced. But my poetry itself was displaced, and I couldn't really find the right words. I started many drafts and I discarded them. And then I came across this. I was in a workshop with Fiona Bolger, who's an amazing poet in Ireland and abroad. And I read a poem by Vani Capildeo called Inhuman Triumphs. And that was really inspiring because Vani talks about the poet transforms into, and then, talks about the elements that the poet transforms into and how that creates a change in the poet's existence, I think, or the field of experience, and how it expands the poet's consciousness. And so we thought, well, why don't we take that as a starting point? And what did you say, Chandrika? After Vani Kapildeo, is that what we
Yeah, I think
titled
yeah,
it?
saying after Vani Capildeo's and then the poem. But also I think this was an important point, and I guess it's something nice to share with other writers is that we just threw what we want to do out the window and we're like,
Yeah.
look, this is supposed to be a fun project. This is supposed to be something we're doing just because we like it. So why are we torturing ourselves? And it was just that moment of, well, what if we just have fun? And it feels like that should not have taken so long for us to figure out that, like, we do this because we like it, right? Like, yes, it's a job as well, but when it's something like this, that's a fun collaborative project where you're paired with someone and you get to like, vibe off of someone else's writing and ideas, like it shouldn't be a slog. It should be really fun. And when, yeah, when Ayesha sent me this poem, I was like, I love this. This is super cool. And then it was kind of like, well, we don't even have to, like be just inspired by it. We can just do one of those poems and after Vani Capildeo, like you do in a lot of workshops, and we can just take this format and run with it. I just remember just throwing a few stanzas over to you that were supposed to be kind of just like funny and a bit silly, and then Aisha threw them back to me, and then we had a poem, and it was like,
It
oh, it's
is.
supposed to be this enjoyable, and we actually
Yeah.
ended up, I think, with better poetry than we would have when we were trying so hard to be deep and meaningful.
Yeah. 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 And what came out was totally, that's what transmutation is about. It's alchemy, because whatever we have, we use whatever elements we have, but the end result is gold somehow. It transforms into gold somehow. So that's what I feel this poem is.
And I think it reflects both of our chats more because there's a lot of humor and a lot of like, cynical coping mechanisms because everything's on fire. So we're just coping.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I think it accidentally, well, not even accidentally, because we were just speaking from ourselves and not trying hard to embody something else. Like we ended up with a real personality to the poem and it's imbued in it and it's
Yeah.
more well-rounded for it. And it was just super fun. And I love it.
It
I
was
love
super
how
fun.
we've worked off of each other. I've never, ever collaborated in writing before, ever. So this is a first. So it's very cool to see how it can work, you know?
Yeah, I don't think I've collaborated in this way with anyone before as well. So it was a first for me too.
Should we give the people what they want?
Let's do it. Let's do it,
Long
Chandrika.
intro. So we
Okay.
named it Transmutations. I think we can just name it Transmutations after.
Okay, so we've named it. That's it. We have the title right here in front of you folks in this moment.
So shall we have a go at Transmutation? So
Go for it, Chandrika.
the poet transforms into a grant application. And no matter how hard you try, you can't copy paste her into a new Word document. And she is suddenly only grey boxes that stutter and gasp after 150 words. You will take all the commas out of her and hope for the best.
The poet transforms into anxiety, stormy angst in a high sea, waves crashing, sweat dripping, pulse beating sounds of red. Unmuzzled vagabonds in the tube invoke cytokinetic frenzy. And she would speak out if she ever believed we were once all in this together.
The poet transforms into an old-fashioned because her cost price is low, but she sells for much more. At home, she is the puddle of melting ice and Angostura bitters spilt on the kitchen counter. But on stage, look how she glitters with an ice cube of diamond cut edges.
The poet transforms into an alcoholic because sometimes the brilliance of her diamond cut edges blinds her, and she cannot see beyond the melting ice in her glass half empty. But it's last call, and she must contend the part she plays in living a life half full.
The poet transforms into an ocean. The lap and the suck and the incomprehensible mass of her, the everything and the nothingness of her, and how when she sleeps, she only dreams of salt and deep, dark trenches.
The poet transforms into presence. Now she is here.